Hey everybody! So I have been getting a lot of questions about how to add these little holly leaves inside of my bows like I've been doing on my 2019 challenge ornaments. So just thought I would do a really quick video showing you how, because it's very, very easy. We'll do the bows and then I'll show you how I add the little holly and the berries in there. All right, so what you're gonna need to do this is you're gonna need about 24 inches each of two different ribbons, or they could be the same ribbons, whatever you want for your bows, but for each bow you'll need about 24 inches of a narrow ribbon. And my ribbons are, I believe, about 3/8 of an inch wide. You could also use 1/4 inch, you could use any really size that you want. And then you'll also need a hanger, so whichever of those ribbons you want to use for a hanger, you'll need about 10 to 11 inches of ribbon for that. And then, of course, you're going to need the little berry and branch embellishment. So this is what I've got. And where I got these was actually, let me just reach across my desk here, was actually these little branches. It's not little, actually, it's pretty big. But I got this in the floral department at Michael's. Let me zoom my camera out just a bit so you can see this. So sorry if there's like a mess around me here, but I'm trying not to show the whole mess. So this is what I got. I got this at Michael's. It's about that big. I think it cost me like $5 with a coupon or something like that. I don't know, but I've been using it for a couple years. Like I just cut a little bit off here and there and you know, put them on various ornaments, and it's lasted forever. And you could see too that this had berries on it as well, but not very many. And I also got myself these branches of berries. I've got a bunch of these, and this one you can see I've cut lots off of, and that's what I've been using for these particular ornaments. So let me just, what I did was just cut these off with wire cutters, and it's very easy to do. You could even use scissors too, but that's probably not recommended if you want to keep your scissors nice and sharp. So let me zoom back in, and then I will show you what to do. So what we want to do first is we want to get the bows ready. And meanwhile, while I'm getting the bows ready, I've got my hot glue gun sitting beside me here, and it is heating up. So it'll be ready for me in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and get the bows ready. So just starting with one of my ribbons, I'm going to take the end and stick a pin, just a little regular straight pin right through the end. And I'm going to begin looping this ribbon. And I usually like to make my bows about 3.5 inch size loops. So just, you can use a tape measure if you've never done this before to make sure that you're staying consistent, or you can just eyeball it like this. And that's what I have a tendency to do. And if you're having a hard time, again, the tape measure idea will help, but I promise you after you do a couple of them, it gets so much easier, and you can just eyeball it and it'll be no problem. So what I'm doing is, I kind of just started, I looped around about the 3.5 inches, and then I pinned right back through. And all I'm going to do is continue doing this, just looping and pinning, looping and pinning, until I have a bow that I am happy with. And like I said in the beginning, you can start with about 24 inches, and that should do it for you. That'll give you a bow that looks about like this, or you can just do it right off the roll like I'm doing here and go until you like what you've got. And then once you do have the bow that you like, you can just go ahead and snip off the excess like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the side for a minute while I get my next bow ready, which is this red kind of woven ribbon that I found at Joann's this year, and it matches really well with the fabric that I'm using in my ornament. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing and just loop it. And remember too, this is not permanent. If you don't like what you've come up with, if you don't like your bow, you can just take the whole thing out and start all over again. That's what's nice about these ornaments in general. Everything's pinned, so whatever you do, if you don't like it, you can always just unpin and start over. Okay, so I've got my 2 bows ready to go, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my hanger ready as well. So for that, you're gonna need about a 10.5 inch or 11 inch piece of ribbon or so. However long you want your hanger to be. If you don't want it to be very long, you can make it shorter, and that is totally fine too. But you wanna take the ends and, oops, let's fix that. You wanna take the ends together and then put them together with a pin. And you know what? I forgot to get my pin. So hang on one second, I'll be right back. I totally knew I was forgetting something. So I've got a red long pearl pin, and I have stuck the 2 ends of my ribbon together to form a loop. And then I'm just gonna take that pin and stick it right through both of those ends to hold them in place. Easy peasy. So again, I'm just gonna set that kind of to the side there so it's ready for me. Because once I glue, I want to kind of put everything together as quickly as I can. I mean, I am using hot glue, so it's not like you have to be super, super fast, but I find it easier to push the pins into the ball when the glue is still like hot and not dried. So what we're gonna do is just find the top of our ornament. So that's gonna be the spot where your last raw edges are on your band. And I'm gonna go ahead and stick my first bow on. And in my case, I've been putting the ivory bow on the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. Just stick it right into the top and just kind of get everything the way that I want it. And now I'm making sure, I wanna make sure that my little embellishments are ready to go. So just, I kind of like to figure out what it is that I want to do. Now here, what I think I need to do is just take off these bottom couple of, oops, let me get back in the camera here. I'm going to take off these bottom couple of leaves, which feels like a real shame. They're so pretty, but that way I have a little bit of a stem here that I can glue, and so that I don't have a whole lot of the leaf part right up in the center. Okay, because if I have too many leaves up there, I won't be able to push my second bow down flat on top, which is what I kind of want to do. So what I think I want to do here is just have it sit kind of like this. I'm going to put this part right here over the center of my bow. So that's what I'm going to do with that. And then again, too, with my berries, I want to make sure that my berries are going to sit the way that I want them to. Now, you want to make sure that you've kind of got about maybe an inch or a little bit less than an inch of stem so that you can have this stick out from your bow a little bit. And I've got a little bit too much, because if I put this where I want it, I'm going to have stem sticking out the opposite side of my bow, which I just absolutely do not want. So I'm going to snip that off. And you should use like wire cutters for this, and I am totally cheating because I forgot those too, and I'm using my scissors. Don't tell anybody. And I'm doing that with both of my bows, or berries. Okay, so I'm gonna check my hot glue here. And it is good to go. So what I'm gonna do is just put a nice dollop of glue right there on the very center of my bow. And then I'm gonna go ahead and place this right where I decided I wanted it. And I'm going to put another berry. I think I'm going to put one of my berries like right here off to the side of the greenery. And then I'm going to stick the other one kind of sticking into that side, because the bow's a little sparse right there. So let's just kind of push that on in there. Okay. And then before it dries, I want to go ahead and grab my second bow, and I'm going to push this right down on top. And when I push that, when I push that down in and on top, that's going to help to hold all that good stuff in place. There we go. Now once this dries and you're feeling confident that everything is held securely in place, you can actually go ahead then at that point and adjust some things, especially like the berries, because they're on a wire stem. So you can kind of bend them a little bit if you need to put them in the place that you want. I'm probably gonna move my little greenery just a tad to the side after I get it adjusted, or after it dries, so I can get it adjusted. But also really quick, and I'm kind of waiting a little too long here, I wanna go ahead and stick my hanger down there too before it all dries. So let's go ahead and do that. And I kind of always try to support, when I know I've got to push into something that's a little bit harder than normal, I try to support the pin as it's going down in. So like support the length of the pin, because it can bend. And once it bends, it's really hard to push all the way down in. Got lucky that time though. And that is that. So it's really not hard. And I love that little bit of green in here. Just kind of adds a little bit of festivity, I think. And you saw how easy it was. So once that all dries, I'm probably gonna just like play around with the bow a little bit and adjust it and make any changes that I want, because you can kind of move things around once it's dry. But that's it. Easy, right? And you can do that with all sorts of different like greenery and all sorts of things. I also like to do flowers and stuff for my spring themed ornaments or Easter ornaments. So that's just like one other idea. I hope that you have fun experimenting and doing this with your own ornaments. And if you've got any questions, as always, please just put them in the comments below and I will help you out the best that I can. Alrighty, happy ornamenting!